And then this next study, the final on insulin, I liked this study when this came out because I often have patients say to me, can't I just drink the olive oil? And I'll talk about how you use it in food. But what the study showed was they had two situations. It was pasta and eggplant were in both situations. In one trial, they fried the food into the olive oil. In the other one, they just dumped olive oil on the food. And what they showed was that when they fried the food into the olive oil, they had better lowering of insulin and glucose. And I think this gets into, when you think about digesting and absorbing food, if it's all, one particle, the chyme is all mixed up, you can get the olive oil better into your body and you see better responses. There could be a case that olive oil just added to food. Maybe it doesn't get into the body. Maybe it becomes part of the fecal mass and just leaves the body. But clearly this showed that frying the food into olive oil was better than just dumping it on it. Vegetables in olive oil. I get this often that I promote olive oil, promote extra virgin olive oil, but people will say to me, well, what about the vegetables in the Mediterranean diet? It's really high in vegetables. I do think that they are important, but I think it's specific vegetables with the extra virgin olive oil. Vegetables that have deep color have a lot of carotenoids, so they give the pigment to the vegetables. The more color you have, the more carotenoids you have. When the carotenoids get into your body, they're very powerful for fighting cancer. This has been in the literature for years. In the United States, dark vegetables are highly promoted for all cancers. And it's funny how many people actually know dark vegetables are better. Kids know it. People from all walks of life seem to know it. But what our Cancer Institute leaves out, which I think is a huge problem, is that carotenoids need fat to be absorbed. So if you are eating your dark vegetables without fat, you won't get the carotenoids into your body. You will not get the cancer protection. And I think that this explains why in the US literature, we have no study showing that eating vegetables decreases your cancer risk. There's none. And you look at the Europeans and you see, they look at blood levels of carotenoids, and that's when you see cancer protection. But we very much tell people to boil vegetables, steam them, make them taste awful. But cooking vegetables in fat more increases the carotenoid absorption than just adding fat to it. I think what happens is, if you think back to food science, the vegetable membranes will break down and the carotenoids get released into the oil, and then you have the oil coming in with the chylomicrons, and you can distribute it better in your body, so you get a better absorption of the carotenoid. For the reason of color, I do promote that my patients use more frozen produce. Frozen produce is kept on the plant longer than fresh produce, so you have a higher phytonutrient, primarily carotenoid content, but other phytonutrients, than what is retail fresh. Now, what you grow in your yard, what you go to a local farmer's market, seasonal, that's different. But if you're out of season, you actually get better phytonutrient content with frozen. And the USDA published a paper showing that the vitamin content is the same, and the phytonutrients are higher. So I thought, intuitively I thought that was correct, but I was glad the USDA backed up, because dietitians are always bashing me for promoting frozen produce. The glucosinolates are found in the cruciferous family. This family is, you all know, people don't like this family, they don't like the way it tastes because there's sulfur in it, but this is a really powerful cancer protective family. In the United States, most people I meet up with who have cancer will say to me, I'm eating broccoli. And it's like, my lifeline. I'm eating my broccoli. And I always say to them, but there's a whole family. You can eat cauliflower, it doesn't taste quite as strong. But the protection is for cancer in general, but estrogen positive breast and then all prostate cancers are highly related to this intake. In fact, for prostate cancer, a serving to 2 a week, so like a half a cup, US half cup to a cup a week, cuts prostate cancer risk in half. I mean, it's huge how powerful this family is. The other thing that olive oil will do, extra virgin olive oil makes your vegetables taste so much better. Kids will eat vegetables cooked in olive oil that won't eat vegetables. I do some work with kids, grade school kids, and we have something in Rhode Island that's called the spinach pie. It's really, I think, the only place in the country you can get it. It's from a Southern Italian influence, but it's spinach cooked in olive oil with garlic, and then it's in dough. And kids will eat that who won't eat spinach. And I have met so many kids that don't even know it's spinach. And I think that's good marketing. They call it a pie, so people think it's, they don't think of it as a vegetable. But kids, it's just because it's cooked in olive oil. I mean, kids will eat vegetables that are cooked in olive oil who won't eat it otherwise. The benefits do start at least 2 tablespoons. My rule of thumb is that you use a tablespoon of olive oil per cup of vegetables. And what you do is you put a tablespoon of olive oil in a pan per cup of vegetables. You can cook that on, say, I usually start it on a medium heat, and then I reduce it somewhat. And I'll sometimes cook the vegetables for 10 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, because I like the olive oil really incorporated into it. But you can do many things from that. Many vegetables you can use. You can also roast vegetables this way. Same formula, tablespoon of olive oil per cup. Put them in a higher oven. But whatever you roast at, that makes some vegetables taste really fabulous when you roast them. But it's a really easy thing to do.